My wife is 31 years old and I am 30 years old. We were together for 3 years and got married 1 year ago. Our bodies were both very fit. In fact, we met at a gym and started chatting right away. I had never talked so much before I met her. It was so easy to talk to her. We fell in love and became best friends. They were just as happy as we were when we got married. They helped us buy furniture and other things to get started and paid for most of our wedding. We joined the new gym right away when it opened near our house. This was a very happy and bright time in my life for me. I really didn't know how hard marriage could be. We started to get annoyed with each other after only 1 year of marriage. It was like the love had worn off. Some days I was just not in the mood to talk, but she thought I wasn't being honest or open enough. I wasn't upset about anything. I didn't have anything to say. We got through this one by talking things out, admitting that we were different, and making a promise to put each other's needs ahead of our own. After that, my wife's gym trainer started coming to her house twice a week all of a sudden. She said that she had reached a plateau, and that having the trainer come to her would help her meet her new goals. I wasn't born yesterday, though. We didn't have any tools or weights at home. I knew that my wife and I were getting older together, and she was naturally very flirty. I didn't want to stay in charge and tell her I didn't want him in her house. I was interested in what she would do with this trust and freedom. We hired a security guard to watch over our house, so I didn't worry too much when I had to go to work. The second week, her teacher came to our house. When I got home, I asked my husband if my wife was being good. He just gave an awkward shrug. He told me he couldn't give me a good guess because she gave him a break every time she had the trainer over. I was shocked. The man who could tell me if my wife was cheating was being fired by her. I asked him if I could pay him extra to watch my wife, even if he had to lie to her and say he was taking a break. It was okay with him. Since it was almost summer, my wife left the side windows of the house open the day our security guard took their picture for me. That was 4 days after I asked him to watch her that I got them. It hit me hard. I didn't think my wife would be sleeping with her trainer, but my small hunch and some bribery got me the nasty truth. The woman I tried to call my wife cheated on me with another man. She was shallow, flirty, and filthy. Even though I did everything I could to earn her trust and give her everything I had, she still couldn't live a good life with me as her husband. As I printed the picture proof and drove home from work, all of these and other things went through my head. I waved thank you to the security guard right before I opened the door and pushed it open. It's possible that they heard the door open because they quickly moved into positions that looked like they were ready for training. It was hard for me to speak clearly as I showed them the printed pictures of what they had just done. The trainer's face went white as a ghost. He quickly left and drove off in his car because he didn't want me to kill him. My wife got down on her knees. She said this was the only big mistake she had ever made. She said she would be a great wife to her husband if I forgive her for what she did. I had no doubts about this at all, but I'm not a very outgoing person, and the amount of emotion I was feeling was too much for me to handle. I went back to being a spy because I knew I could not stay married to this woman. She would have to suffer because of this. I told her that the things I gave her, like jewelry, a hairstylist, a car, high-end clothes, and shoes, were only for a faithful and good wife, all of it. I locked it all up in the trunk of my car and put it away. It took all day, and my wife cried almost the whole time. She said she would do everything I asked, but she didn't. She might have known I was going to leave her, but she was too scared to ask. She also didn't want to tell her parents because they were good parents. They wouldn't rush to her aid just because she let another man into her home. Woman who is responsible and decent would never do that. She didn't have her normal routines or rights while she slept on the couch for a week. In the hopes that that would make me forgive her, she cleaned it a lot. As she scrubbed the floors like Cinderella, I put down the papers for marriage. It really made her crazy when she saw that all of her pleading and crying didn't help me. She got up to call her parents. They came and got her, but only long enough to give her a talk, buy her some clothes at Walmart, and bring her back to my house. At the same time, it was funny and annoying. Going through the process led to the divorce being finalized. Until she was told to leave, she was sleeping on our couch. The judge laughed at her when she asked if she could have half of my business. He shook his head and told her she needed to grow up because she had made a great man and give her lose his life. She wasn't even patient enough in her marriage to make sure she got half of my business when we got divorced. It was clear that she wasn't smart and only cared about herself. OP, I'm really sorry that your wife slept with her trainer without telling you. She brought him to your house while you were working just to start an affair. Being an adult woman means that you would never flirt with or be alone with another guy. There is enough trouble and stress in marriage without adding extra temptation. There must be two separate minds that are ready to be honest and do everything they can to understand and care about the person they married. You're lucky that there is a security guard who told you what was going on right away. What you planned for your wife was a life of safety and love that she didn't deserve, and luckily you weren't married long enough for her to get any of it. Thanks for telling your story. Best of luck to you. Let's move on to our second story today. We were married for a long time. Her favorite thing to do was never fish. As a child, my dad taught me to fish by the water or on a boat, so she sometimes went with me, but most of the time she didn't want me to. We learned how to compromise after being married for a while, so we let each other know about everything and let them come and go as they pleased. My wife would often go see her mom or relatives, and I would fish. At the lake, I met a man who liked fishing too. Besides being good at it, he always showed up ready with drinks to share. His wife went with him sometimes, and she wasn't bad either. I'm going to call them Mr. and Mrs. Fisherman. When I told my wife that I met a fishing friend who sometimes brought his wife with him, she got jealous right away and thought I liked Mrs. I was too grown up to give in to this, so I laughed and told my wife I thought it was cute that she was interested in me. I had no idea she was going to make my life awful. That way, she could get to know the people I hung out with by going on my fishing trips with me. We went fishing with each other about 6 times. In between, there were times when I went fishing by myself or with Mr. Fisherman. Mrs. Fisherman sent me a text message. She asked me if I was with her husband because he had told her he wanted to go fishing with me. He would never do something like that, but I told her no, I wasn't. Most of the time, he kept his word. After another hour and 15 minutes, I packed up and left for home. It made me wonder why my wife wasn't there. I called her several times, but she didn't answer. After 20 minutes, she came home out of breath. She told me she hadn't thought I'd be back so soon and that she had gone to Zumba class. It was tough to believe this. My wife sometimes did Zumba, but the class never ended this late. She drove so far that she should have had time to catch her breath by now. I didn't know how to talk to her about it. We've been married for 48 years, so the fact that I thought she was up to no good was terrible. She told me she knew where Mr. Fisherman was. As soon as I asked, a text message hit my phone. While telling me she hadn't seen him, my wife tried to act as normal as she could. This made her heart race. She was too shy to look me in the eye. As I went upstairs to take a shower, Mr. Fisherman's hat looked confused and worried. I only thought the worst would happen. When I took out my phone, I saw that Mrs. Fisherman had texted me. She wrote, "Mr. Fisherman didn't seem right when he got home." He told her he lost his hat with me at the lake, but she already knew I hadn't seen him that night. I sent her a picture of his hat on my bedroom floor. The bed looked like it was made quickly. At this point, we were worried that they might have slept together without us knowing. Going through this a little easier when I was with someone else who was going through the same humiliation. They had been married for 43 years. I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but get close to people and tell them what you're going through. I never thought I'd lose the love of my life to something so pointless and avoidable. We felt a little sad at first, but then we thought it would be best to catch them in the act. Also, we were sure they were seeing each other behind our backs, so we started the divorce process. After 3 days, Mrs. Fisherman texted me. Mr. Fisherman said he was going fishing, but she didn't believe him. I was at work, getting divorce papers ready. She texted him again to say that she went to the lake soon after he left and couldn't find him. We met outside of my house and opened the door quietly. Hearing sounds upstairs made us rush upstairs, where we found them having sex. It was too scary for me to watch as they freaked out, stopped the session, and started to dress quickly. My wife was already crying, and AP kept calling her Mrs. Fisherman's name while he dressed, as if she would go away if he looked away. They both knew they had done something wrong. They were caught lying to us, the two people who had loved and helped them their whole lives. This kind of betrayal makes you feel like you can't put it into words. I didn't know what to do. I felt bad about it, so I threw the divorce papers at my wife's feet and left. Mrs. Fisherman ran out of the house, and AP, her cheating husband, was right behind her. They were no longer married when my wife and I were. The adults in our family were so upset with her. Things were never the same between them. They were shocked and hurt, just like I was. She moved 45 minutes away. What she lost was more important than the rest of her life. Everything she had worked for over the last 48 years was gone or got dirty. I'm thankful that my kids call me and keep me up to date on family matters. Cheating hurts and makes you feel bad, so everyone should learn this lesson. OP, I can't believe your wife cheated on you with a married friend you met while fishing. At first, it was just a relaxing and fun thing for two long-married couples to do together. It was an unplanned chance for your ex to hurt your marriage and cause you to lose trust each other. It's too bad they couldn't say no to this temptation, because it would have made their interactions and lives with you all better. Because of this stupid cheating, your wife's relationship with her kids is worse now. It's great that you had help both during and after the event. Try to keep your hope alive and treat other people the way you'd like to be treated. In order for a marriage to have meaning and be successful, both partners must be honest and caring.